I want to take this opportunity to say welcome to the very first Get Your Cherry On pop-up. Get Your Cherry On conversation. Welcome, welcome. My name is Sherri Pullum, and today I'm going to focus on creativity. But before I do that, I want to not turn it over, but I want to tell you who else is going to be on. So Zoe Flowers will be after me. She is a content creator, an author, and she is also a healer. And she's also one of my very closest friends, writing partner. I could go on and on. Then we will have Trina Wiggins. She is a physical fitness expert and also a doctor. So she is going to focus on physical and emotional well-being today. And I am proud to say, bragging rights, she is also my cousin. And we have Kai Sahai. She is a young, spirited, recent college graduate. And she's going to talk about her journey out here after graduation, how you can embrace your power after and entering this new world for her. Then we will have Patricia Mitchell, and she is the Executive Vice President of Industrial Bank. I, again, am taking bragging rights. That is a cousin, and she is going to focus on financial wellness, which we all need. We all need. Then there is Tevra Francis. She is a publisher with Bergen and Color, and she's going to focus on how do we unite? How do we unite? How do we bring ourselves together in this business community? Bergen and Color, that is one of their central focuses. So she's going to take us through that. And then, of course, and she's also a very good personal close friend as well. And then, of course, there's Tamara Steele, and she's going to round this whole conversation out. She is an attorney. She's a motivational speaker. She is going to hype us up even more, and she's going to round it out with some motivation and inspiration. So first off, let me just start with, what does it mean to get your cherry on? And then I'll tell you a little bit about myself, okay? So what it means is to live a life that fully reflects your power, your potential, and possibility. Power, potential, possibility. I feel stronger even saying that. So my name again is Sherri Pullum, and I am an actress, a producer, a writer, a director, a mom, a wife, a dog owner, and so much more, right? A being that has so many creative levels. So I decided today I wanted to focus on how do we keep our power, or how do we gather even more power through our creativity. Get Your Cherry On, it came through my own creative process. Many of you know, again, that I am creating, or I have created, a new TV series. Right now, it's in the process of being pitched, so please keep us in prayer and send good thoughts. And it is about a woman, me, my life, a mom, a wife, an entrepreneur, an artpreneur, who is escaping into her diva alter ego. She loves her life, but she feels like her voice maybe is being silenced. She's not being heard. Maybe she's not presenting herself the way that she wants the world to see her. Maybe she's not living her greatness fully. So she creates this new world, and it's called Cherry Red Sweet Escape. Cherry Red Sweet Escape. And this woman, in my mind, is so powerful. She's so fierce. She doesn't make excuses. She lives her life on her own terms. And I don't always do that, quite frankly, right? So I was really overwhelmed one day, trying to shoot the show, so much stuff going on. And Zoe, I was with you. And one day I was feeling so overwhelmed. And I said, I just don't know how I'm going to get it done. I don't know how I'm going to do all this. I can't manage it. Well, the thought of me thinking about this character who I believe in my mind, again, the power of creativity, who is larger than life, okay? She inspired me, and I played Cherry Red. She inspired me, that thought, that creative process inspired me to say, you know what? I need to stop making excuses and get my cherry on. Yeah. So that's exactly how it came to be. Get my cherry on. And then I thought, I want to empower other women. I want to inspire other women who might feel diminished, who might feel defeated, who feel that there's something greater inside. So what is your cherry red? What do you have inside of you? What's your cherry red? How do you want to get your cherry on? I had something prepared for you today, which is these 5 nuggets, which I'm going to give you about how you can improve your creativity. But one thing that when I think of with creativity, how many of you think that creativity only has to do with art? It only has to do with the process of, am I a visual artist? Am I a dancer? Am I a singer? Is that the only way that you relate to creativity? Because some people say, I don't have a creative bone in my body. And I want to tell you that you do. Because creativity is about the process of connecting ideas. It's about connecting ideas. Okay. And so, however, you could be a mathematician, you could be a scientist, you're a creator, and you have creative intention in your body. And I don't know if you realize this, but we have 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts per day. You are constantly creating. You're creating your life right now with every thought that you're thinking. So we can choose, right, to think thoughts that are going to help us, right, and improve what our life could look like, or we could think thoughts that won't. Okay, so I'm going to jump into it because I know time is probably flying by. Number 1, to improve your creativity. Get curious by learning through collaboration. What we're doing right now, talk to people, read books, find experts that can pique your interest, pique your creativity, and then do something that you love. Okay. Many of us are working maybe in industries we might not love it, right? But you have a choice always to do something that you love. Even if it's not your career, you have a choice. So do something that you love. And if you don't know what it is that you love, again, I'm going to invite you to open up sort of your heart space, put your hand on your heart, and just think about, what is it that I do love? Put that in your heart space. Try it. You certainly you just have everything to gain by expanding. Okay. So open up your heart space, do what you love. And when you do what you love, and if you're fortunate enough to have a career in doing what you love, and I'm grateful to be able to do that, then you have a sense of freedom, right? There is this sense of joy. There's this sense of freedom when you are doing what you love and you're stepping into your authentic you. Don't you feel free? I know I do. It also relieves stress, right? Relaxation. Now, I'm not going to say that sometimes doing what we love, it does become stressful, because if doing what you love becomes work, it can be stressful. But again, that's when I invite you to say, maybe unplug. Okay. That's another way you can improve your creativity. Unplug, go for a walk, take a shower, go for a drive. You know, creativity is this process that's unconscious and it's also conscious, right? Because when you go for a drive, don't you, when you're driving, you're like, okay, remember 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts a day. All these thoughts are coming in and you're not always processing each and every one. Some of those thoughts are unconscious, right? And some of them are conscious thoughts that you're going to act on. And then set the mood. Set the mood. Today, before this conversation, I set the mood with music. You can do that too. I also set the mood. Again, I walked in my power pose yesterday to set the mood so I could feel powerful and feel strong and feel victorious in my own creative power. That is something right now during these times, we can control our mood. As tough as it is, it's hard. But again, think about consciously saying, I want to change my state. I want to change my story. I'm going to create something new that I'm going to think about right now. And then to do that, again, maybe change the mood, put on music, watch a motivational video, come on and join this kind of process and this kind of conversation, and light a candle. whatever it is that's going to shift for you. Even look, just creating great spaces, beautiful spaces in your home. And the last, I think, is the most challenging to your maybe creative uh, idea, or what you may think about creativity, is create from something that's a bad idea. Okay, because creativity is a muscle. We have to use that muscle. And if I would encourage you to write down at least your top 3 really bad ideas. Write them down. The worst idea ever. Why it won't work. Write it down. Why it's just so horrible. But guess what? What's going to be the solution? Challenge your creativity. Challenge your thought process. How can I make this better? How can I provide a solution? And that is the way, listen, so many things are born, from electricity to, everything that we have really that's on this planet has come from an idea, and sometimes a bad idea that they said, I want to make it better. And then when you do that, you provide a solution for yourself, and you might be providing a solution for someone else. So there are my nuggets for you, something tangible. I hope it feels tangible to you. I hope that you can challenge yourself today to improve your creativity. And the last thing I'm going to ask before I close is that when you're creating, don't judge yourself. Like I said, just be the observer. And I'm going to also invite you to just put your hand over your heart right now and just open up that space. Just feel an open space of allowing creativity to come into your life. Allow it. I thank you so much. I hope again that you gathered some inspiration and motivation, and you will find your power in creativity. Okay. I am going to pass my cherry on to, and I hope everyone's getting their cherry on. I'm going to pass my cherry on to Zoe Flowers and allow her to introduce herself to you. Again, she is a content creator, author, and a healer. And again, my very good friend. Zoe, take it away. I'm passing the cherry on to you.
So, hello, happy Saturday. We have about 40 people in the room now, I think. Yeah, we're right at 40. Amazing. So, that's so great. Hey, Yvette. So let me put this back on speaker view. Okay. So amazing. So Zoe Flowers here. So as Sherri said, I am a healer. I am changing my title, however, to spiritual concierge, content creator, and author. And so spiritual concierge was something that came to me years ago, really, when I thought about the work that I do. Let me just, there. What I really do is take people from one place to another. And just like Sherri talked about in the beginning of the conversation, changing your state, right? Like lots of folks talk about changing your state of mind, how you carry your body, and that can switch your mood. And so when I really think about the work that I've been doing really since a little person, it's been taking people from one state to another, right? And really helping them do that and to demystify spirituality and healing and all of those things, because people think sometimes that spirituality is this big complicated thing, and I don't feel like it is. And so I'm really here to help people demystify that and distill what can seem very woo-woo, as people like to say, in very everyday steps that folks can understand. I'm also a content creator, and which just means I, make television shows, plays, things of that nature. And I'm an author, and I'll talk about that probably at the end. But one of the things that Sherri was talking about when she was talking about putting your hand on your heart and listening to your heart puts me very much in the mind of what I am talking about today, which is intuition and setting intent. I really believe that sometimes we get stuck because we're not listening to our heart. We're so busy working. We're so busy taking care of family, right? We're so busy taking care of friends. We're so busy doing all of the things that we don't have a spiritual practice, or we do, and we just feel like we don't have time, right? Or we're not listening to our heart. Our heart is closed. Our heart is closed because we've been hurt, we've been wounded, we don't trust, we're angry, you know, and a lot of that wounding can cause us to not trust ourselves, right? Sometimes we think we don't trust other people, but what it really is we don't trust ourselves because maybe we did trust before and we got hurt. And so, you know, one of the things I say a lot is that once the brain takes in a message, it metabolizes it and it makes meaning of it. Once we have an experience, our brain creates a story around what happened, right? So say you gave your heart to someone, or you could have given your heart to a job, right? And something happened, things happen, betrayals happen. And so then maybe you've created a story around what that really meant. And you've been acting from that story ever since, subconsciously, right? And so that's why our intuition is critical. At the start of this pandemic, I was living in New York, and my friend and I, we were talking about what was happening. This was probably last week of February, and we were going to a screenwriting class in the city, and we were just, at that point, we were really getting nervous, and we were like, you know what, we need to stock up on food. We need to stock up on food. And I said, yeah, we can just do it next weekend. And we both got silent. And I got this little voice in my head, and it was like, maybe you need to go sooner than that. And at the same time, we were like, you know what, maybe we need to go this weekend. And we wound up doing that. And when I came here to Connecticut, I had all this food, I had all of these things. And I thought, oh, I'll have time to go back to the city and get the rest of my stuff. Well, guess what? Like that next week, it was like, you ain't coming back to the city, girl. And so it's like when I made that trip, I brought my groceries, I had like clothes, all of these things, because my intuition was like, be prepared. But me, Zoe, I was like still wanting to believe, well, I'll have time to go back. I'll have time to get what I need. I'll be fine. But yet I was packing all the stuff. I had stuff at the laundromat. My intuition was like, go get all your laundry, like go get all of your stuff. And so I literally packed up my whole truck and came to Connecticut. My mother was looking at me like I was a mad woman, but I was just following my intuition. And so one of the things I say now is follow your intuition before it makes sense, because your intuition is not going to steer you wrong. Because here we are 3 months later, and I'm still like living out of those same clothes. Like I said, I have not been back home since the first week of March. And the only reason why I have the essentials, most of the things I need, is because my spirit, my little voice was like, girl, we gonna pray for the best, but you need to be prepared.
Yeah.
And I followed it. And I didn't always used to do that. And when I look back on the tricky and sticky situations, and I've been in many, it's been when I didn't follow my intuition. It's been when spirit was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't go to that party. You probably shouldn't go on that date. You probably shouldn't call that guy back. And I was like, no, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do it anyway. Everything is going to be fine. And then I wind up in trouble. So follow your intuition before it makes sense, right? One of the things that one of my really good friends, Dr. G. Love, used to say a lot is that the Salem witch trials and all of them were very successful. Why were they successful? Because they made so many of us doubt the mystery, the world of the mystery, the things, the spiritual things, the things of the unknown, right? I won't get too deep because I don't have too much time. But what I mean by that is there have been so many ways that we have been separated, particularly as women. The things that are associated with women have been put in a bad light, in a scary light, the unseen, right? And so many of us are separated from our intuition as people of color. The things that make us magical, the things that have made it possible for us to even be here on this Zoom in 2020, that have allowed us to be alive. Those things, the way we communicate, our facial expressions, how we talk, how we make magic every single day, those things have been demonized. We have been punished for those things, okay? And so it is no surprise that we are separated from our intuition. You know, one of the things I do is I have lots of students. I teach Reiki, meditation, I do Tarot, I do lots and lots of things. And I got into the law of attraction around 94, I would say, right? By Dr. Wayne Dyer said, your thoughts create your life. Change your thoughts, change your life. And for me, something when he said that, it clicked. I was like, I'm in. And it changed my life. But my students say, why is it so hard for people of color to embrace the law of attraction and manifest their dreams? And so I've been thinking on it and thinking on it and thinking on it. And one of the things that really came to me a couple of years ago, and it resonates for me, is because we have so much shame around our histories. As I said, the things that make us amazing are demonized, right? And for other cultures, a lot of them don't carry the same shame. And the thing about manifesting is you have to believe that you deserve the things that you're longing for. And what shame does, and what trauma does, and what wounding does, is it separates you from that. It makes you think you're wrong. It makes you think you're inherently wrong. So it's no surprise that women of color, who also happen to be, you know, spiritual, have a problem manifesting, trusting their intuition, trusting their heart, because we've been told we're wrong. Our very existence is threatening and wrong, right? And so until you can get into your actual DNA, until you can get into your actual brain and unroot those things, you will not be able to follow your intuition. You will not be able to transform. You will not be able to listen to your heart clearly, because even if your heart says, go right, girl, your head is going to be like, should I go right? I don't know. I don't really know, right? So that's my mini Saturday rant on that. And so the other piece is intention. So these things feed into each other, right? If you have a problem, if you have an inherent belief that you are wrong, you're going to have a problem setting your intention. Why? Because you're not going to be clear about what you're here to do and what you want and who you can be, right? So I would say for anyone, first, really begin to get curious about your beliefs, the things that you have taken to be as true, the stories that you have chosen to believe or gone into agreement with, right? Begin to get curious and begin to unravel some of those things. Sit quiet, go in nature. Like Sherri said, listen to the trees, listen to the wind, so that you can hear when your intuition begins to speak to you. And then when your intuition begins to speak with you, then you can make intentions that are formed out of hope and not out of lack. Because a lot of our intentions, because of all the things that I've talked about before, are coming out of lack. They're coming out of wounding. They're coming out of what we don't want instead of what we do want. So I believe it's possible. Yeah, I believe it's possible. I believe that we're all magical and wonderful, and all we have to do is get curious, and we can transform. So that's all I got. I don't know if I'm supposed to say more, but I'm going to put myself on mute, and Sherri can tell me what to do.
Thank you so much, Zoe. We are going to pass our cherry on to Trina Wiggins, Dr. Trina Wiggins, and she's going to take us through physical and emotional well-being, okay? Where that power lives.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm from Las Vegas, and my name is Dr. Trina. I'm a pediatrician. I'm a fitness competitor, and I'm an author and mother of twin boys. And today I wanted to talk to you about physical and mental health in the midst of this pandemic. And I think sheltering in provides the perfect opportunity to address this. And it's critical that we optimize our physical and mental health now. And here's why. As you know, there's no cure nor vaccine for the coronavirus. So we need to take matters into our own hands and get immuned up. That's important. But first, we need to know what weakens our immune system, okay? Lack of exercise, stress, poor diet, and poor sleep habits. So I'm gonna briefly address each one of those and try to give you some nuggets on how you can make changes to impact your life in a positive manner. So first, let's start with sleep. Sleep is the time that your body replenishes itself. It repairs damage. So we need to get an adequate amount, anywhere from 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. You need to go to bed at the same time every night, okay? And not varying times of the night, like one night at 9, one night at 11. You want to make sure you sleep in a cool and dark room. No TV, no phone going off at all times of the night with notifications, and no caffeine before bed. Those are basic, good sleep hygiene habits that we all need to instill, especially now, since our body needs to be in tip-top condition. Next, exercise is vitally important. My philosophy is to keep it short and simple for a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. And that happens to be the title of my new book that will be released at the end of this month. Most people look at exercise as a drudgery. After a long 8 or 10-hour day at work, who has the energy or the will to want to go to a gym and spend hours working out? So I believe it's better if we weave exercise throughout our day in short segments or small digestible pieces throughout the day. Say 10 minutes 3 times a day, 15 minutes twice a day, because I just think it's easier to wrap your mind around doing small segments throughout the day versus one long, continuous, nonstop session. The American Heart Association tells us 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week will reduce your chance of a heart attack by 50%. That's huge, 50%. And will also decrease your risk of other chronic diseases such as high blood pressure, diabetes, just by implementing exercise. So some of my favorite tips are, I love the 7-minute app. It's just you and your phone. And what it is comprised of 12 exercises, 30 seconds at a time, with a 10-second rest in between. And it encompasses not only cardio, but strength as well, in 7 minutes. And who doesn't have 7 minutes? So if you did this 7 minutes 3 times a day and put some walking in there, you've completed a workout. And like I said, it's easy for your mind to wrap around shorter segments than one long segment. Another plan that I like is called the 10-20-30 method. And what that is, you can choose whatever physical activity you like, whether it be walking, jogging, biking, or dancing. And what you do for 30 seconds, you do that activity at 30% capacity of your body, the 30%. Then you, at 20 seconds, you speed it up to 60% of your capacity. And then for the last 10 seconds, you go maximum, you go 90% capacity. So you got 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds. You do this sequence 5 times. Take a 2-minute break, repeat 5 times, okay? That's 10 minutes right there. And the good thing about it, by you varying the intensity and the speed, it breaks up the monotony of doing something the same speed. So if you imagine you do this segment 3 times a day, you've done a full workout, okay? And it's not a drudgery. Now, in addition to the physical benefits, there are some mental benefits from doing exercise. When you do exercise, it's a stress relief, and your body and your brain releases endorphins. Those are our happy hormones, okay? Give it this positive vibes and positive feeling. So that's one good thing. The brain also releases what's called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, okay? Also known as BDNF. It's a protein that keeps our brain cells healthy, creates new ones, and repairs old ones. Now, what they found in the studies is that people with low BDNF are at more risk for Alzheimer's, dementia, decrease in their cognitive awareness, and depression. But what's great, if you exercise, it boosts those levels up. So those are two benefits right there, not only from the physical standpoint of cardiovascular health and fitness and decreasing other chronic diseases, but also warding off mental disease and mental decline. So that's hugely important. Next, stress. Stress is huge, and it plays a huge role in our immune status. And this was a tough one for me. One way to deal with it, obviously, is through meditation and prayer. Now, it was tough for me because when I would go sit down and say, okay, I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna pray, I would have thousands of thoughts. And like Cousin Sherri said, you have thousands of thoughts in your head every day. And I would sit there for minutes, and I'm like, what have I done? And so that was a challenge for me. And as I was growing up, I remember my grandmother and the sisters in the church would sing a song. Now, I can't sing, but it would go something like this. Jesus on that main line, tell him what you want. And I'm like, what is that? How do you get a main line connection to Jesus or to pray? So what I had to figure out for me, how can I get in that mode quickly? Once again, time is our most valuable asset, and I didn't have time to sit there with all these thoughts going to my mind. And what I found was useful was something called the Insight Timer. It's a meditation app, and it's wonderful. And what it has a gong sound. It's an instrument. So the gong goes off at, say, 10 to 15 second intervals. And so what I found very beneficial to get me in that state where I need to meditate and pray, I turn that on, and at the first gong sound, I take a deep breath in and inhale, and I inhale positive thoughts, feelings of happiness, peace of mind, no stress, all positivity. And then at the next gong sound, I exhale, and I exhale feelings of depression, anxiety, worry, doubt, stress, or fear, also known as false evidence appearing real. I exhale that. So it's like I'm physically breathing out that negativity, and I find that to be very advantageous. Another thing with meditation, I find it very how should I put it? It's inspiring to hear that mainstream media, our celebrities, sports figures are embracing mental health and bringing it to the forefront, so it's not such a stigma. For example, you have Michael Phelps, Olympic swimmer, who now advertises for Talkspace. Talkspace is a platform where you can seek mental health and speak with a therapist in the privacy in your own home. You don't have to go to a facility, and you can access them by email, text message, your laptop, whatever way you want, any time of the day, and they will get back with you. So that's huge. Another thing, LeBron has been advertising for Calm, which is a meditation app. So I think by celebrities and sports figures embracing mental health, it just brings it to the forefront, and everyone else is more on board. Also, there's another app that I really like. It's called Headspace. Headspace is great. It has guided meditation, meditation about stress, meditation about if you have sports anxiety. So it's a plethora of different ways to meditate. And what I like about Headspace, they just started, you can get free membership to this app for 1 full year if you are unemployed during this COVID pandemic. So I challenge you guys, check out the apps, the Calm one, the Insight Timer, and Headspace, because a lot of them now are offering special deals given the situation of our society with COVID. And the last piece of the equation is nutrition. Nutrition is vitally important. And I believe that the majority of your plate needs to be plant-based, okay? I would say 80% needs to be plant-based with an array of a rainbow of fruits and vegetables. And what I typically start my day is with a vegetable and fruit smoothie. I may put collard greens, kale, or I even use parsley, handful of each. Then I'll get some fruit, maybe a frozen banana, some pineapple, okay? You put that all together and you've made yourself just a rich smoothie that's full of phytochemicals. And what are phytochemicals? Phytochemicals are those chemicals that are important in fighting disease, okay? I look at our bodies as an army, okay? And our bodies have billions of cells, and each cell has a job to do, okay? But you must arm your army and your soldiers with the right ammunition, and that right ammunition are the phytochemicals from fruits and vegetables. So we need to bolster our immune system with eating more fruits and vegetables, create your own personal smoothie. And in my book, I have several smoothies that I share with people about how to bolster their immune system with a lot of other ingredients such as turmeric, such as ginger, such as green tea. All these are potent phytochemicals and antioxidants that will keep your body capable of fighting off disease. And let's not forget zinc. Let's not forget vitamin C, and let's not forget vitamin D, especially vitamin D with people of color, because studies have shown we have a tendency to be low in vitamin C. And I don't know if you've been keeping up, vitamin D. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news, the medical news, but vitamin D is playing a significant role in with this COVID, and that's why we need to make sure that our vitamin D levels are bolstered. So that's all I have to say. The key things, just to reiterate what I said before: A, let's decrease our stress, let's exercise, and let's make sure that we pray, that we meditate, and get our sleep habits in order. And that's all I have for today. God bless. And I guess I need to pass my cherry on as well.
Thank you so much, Trina, for the great advice. I hope everybody is enjoying all these words of wisdom. I hope you're getting your cherry on, you're feeling more powerful. We're passing the cherry now to Kai Sahai. So Kai, come on and jump on in.
Hey everyone, thanks for allowing me to be on this panel. So briefly, I'm a photographer. I'm also a multimedia artist. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., and I graduated from Spelman 2018. I technically graduated early. I finished in 2017 of December and had to walk in 2018. So life after college, to be truthful, was just very like a whirlwind of blessings and, you know, a lot of internal soul searching. The three topics that come to mind for me when it comes into tapping into my power and potential is introspection, letting go, and expansion. So I wrote some notes, so bear with me. So for me, introspection means like taking accountability, changing learned behaviors that you learned as a youth and as you get older, and also developing, you know, a deeper understanding of oneself. So after college, I really struggled with, I have to say, like post-grad depression due to like the change of structure, and then, you know, as well as just like not scoring a job straight out of college. It kind of created a lot of insecurities and anxiety for me. But, you know, externally, everything looked great. I was shooting a lot of, you know, magazine covers. I was around artists that people dreamed to be around. But just, I felt energetically low and only a few close friends knew. To overcome that, really just in the past year, to get my power back, I really like focused on self-love and self-care, understanding that my emotions and my feelings are valid, and then coming to terms with that I am a creative. I feel like we live in a society where, you know, creatives are put on a pedestal, but at the same time, if you tell people you're a creative, it's kind of like, well, like, how are you gonna make money? Like, are you gonna be able to be here? And I had to really just, it's okay for me to be an artist, and it's okay for me to be creative. The lessons I learned from overcoming that is, you know, it's important to understand that the mind is powerful and that you have to nourish it. That your support system is bigger than what you think. My family, my friends have been my biggest support system when I was feeling the lowest. And then just getting in touch with your spirituality. When your spirituality is low, a lot of things are very low. A great example was I was having skin breakouts. I was just feeling sick all the time, and things just weren't manifesting in exactly how I wanted it. So the next topic is letting go. So my definition of letting go is detaching and learning how to release people, behaviors and objects that don't serve you no more. So after college, I found myself like subconsciously attaching to things where the energy like no longer served me, or is creating demanding expectations of how things should be. And a great example of how that was my detriment was I wouldn't finish photo projects because I didn't think it was to the quality it needed to be, when actually, which is good. You want to have things at the high quality you want, but sometimes you're not gonna be able to figure things out. Sometimes things don't go in the right way. So to overcome that, I just, letting God, Jah, higher spirit guide you. Knowing what is for you and it will gradually come. Not obsessing and reacting over things that are not in my control. So I am like kind of a type A personality. So I tend to like, if something's not in my control, it will throw me off. So just, letting things just be loose and free. And then also understanding that I am my own validation. That, everything that I do, you have to validate yourself. You can't let others validate you. And if you don't validate yourself, whoever else's validation is not going to be the best for your spirit. Then lastly is expansion. So expansion for me is understanding the power of manifestation and opportunity. I still struggle with the idea of manifestation due to my nature of wanting things in instant gratification, which is really big in Western society. Even though I feel I haven't mastered it, it definitely happens without conscious knowing. So in 2019 was, I feel like, the year that I was just through. I was over it. I was just so upset. Like the hardest after graduation, just mentally, physically, everything. I was just over it. But the skills I developed out of that year, even though it was the hardest year for me, was business-wise, learning how to network, building genuine relationships, and abundance. So with networking, I always came from a family and friends who are like, we're really good with networking, understanding that your network is your net worth, and leveraging those without the fear of rejection. The worst thing someone can say to you is no. And a lot of times we're scared of rejection, and you have to understand, just because someone rejects you doesn't mean that you have to reject yourself. Next, with the networking, understanding that it's also building genuine relationships, understanding that your inclusion of others is in the process of your journey, and it's also inclusion of self. And then also just building a solid team of support. The greatest example for me is in Atlanta. I was in a studio called Camcork Studios, where it was a group of photographers. We all had the same vision, and we really just, built each other up. And from there, I've grown some of my bestest friends and lifetime, partners, everything. And then lastly, abundance, just understanding that there's so much more for us to learn and see. And you always need to operate, my dad always said, operate as a student of life. And also embrace listening. I tend to, like I said, I'm a very type A person, so I don't listen all the time, or listen properly, and just understand sometimes you don't need to talk, like just be quiet. And then lastly, like embracing your purpose, just understanding that you have to find your purpose. And I went to with my friend, we went to the founder of Shea Moisturizer. He has stated that, you have to have your North Star. And when it comes to business, your advantage in decision-making, using strategy, and being meticulous. But overall, like I said, for me, life after college was about introspection, expansion, and letting go. Currently, I feel so great during quarantine. I've been working out a lot, keeping my health together. I've been really big on meditating. And then, also I've just been working on my branding and understanding like the flaws that I had in my business, or the things I did before is okay, and that a job is going to come soon, even though quarantine's kind of stop that process. But just understanding, like, you just gotta let God. So, and I'm good.
Okay, do you see the applause? Do you see the applause, Kai? Our millennial, yes, in the house. Thank
My
you,
niece,
thank you, thank you. There's her aunt.
proud auntie,
Proud auntie,
mature
as
soul,
you should be, as you should be.
grandmother too on the line here. So we're very proud of you, Kai.
Thanks.
Yes, we are proud. Get your cherry on, Kai. You are leading the way. We're gonna be okay, right? We're gonna be okay, people. We're gonna be okay. Patricia Mitchell, it is time. Patricia Mitchell, Executive Vice President of Industrial Bank, and also I'm proud to say my cousin as well.
Yay! Good morning. I'm so happy to be here with you ladies. I love all this information that we're sharing, and what better way to spend a Saturday, right? So I am Executive Vice President of Industrial Bank, as Sherri said, and I love what you're doing, Sherri, with getting your cherry on and bringing us all together. I absolutely love it. And you know I support you in any way that I can possibly do so. So I'm Executive Vice President of Industrial Bank, and the bank started in 1934 by my grandfather, Jesse Mitchell, in Washington, D.C., at the corner of 11th and U. Yes, I see Kai saying, yay, Washington, D.C. So in 1934, there wasn't a Black bank that existed in Washington, D.C. There had been a Black bank, but it had to close in 1932 when President Roosevelt came into office. So it was not allowed to reopen, and my grandfather had worked at that prior bank, and he and some other men said, well, we have to have a bank for Black people because Blacks could deposit their money any place at any bank, but they could not borrow. So there had to be a place where Blacks could borrow money to buy their homes. And at that time, they had to come up with 20% to buy their homes. Now we can do 3.5% to buy our homes, but then you had to come up with 20%. And so they opened the bank 1934, 11th and U, 6 employees, and there were 278 shareholders, people that brought their little savings, their $10, their $15 to buy shares to support this bank. And so we've been around for 86 years. We've grown now outside of DC. We also have locations in Prince George's County. And then in this past November, we purchased the Black bank that was in Newark, New Jersey. It was formerly City National Bank. So now we have locations in North Jersey and in Harlem, because they already had a location in Harlem. And when I started in banking, there were 54 Black banks around the country. Now there's only 21. So, so it was only, now there's only 21. And the banks have, the number of Black banks have declined for a couple of reasons. One, that they may not have been able to survive. And then also they just may have decided to merge with another bank. It could be another Black bank or another non-Black bank. So now they're 21. So that's the history on Black banking. We are number 4, I should say, in the country in terms of size. So I just want to share that with you. So my nuggets for today are deferring loan payments, PPP, and mortgage interest rates. So now that there's so many people that have less income than they used to, and there's a lot of people that have no income. And if you're struggling financially, you should go to your lenders, cars, mortgage lenders, and you should ask to defer loan payments. And everybody is deferring loan payments. So I can't imagine that there's an institution that would say no. Everybody is deferring loan payments. So they may defer it for 3 months, 4 months, maybe up to 6 months. But there's a couple questions you should ask. And that is, what happens to those payments? Do the payments go into the end of the loan? Do I have to, some people are telling me that that lenders are making them repay it after the end of the deferment period, which sounds a little unreasonable, but just find out, do you have to pay it at the end of the deferment period? Does it go to the end of the loan? Also ask to have those late charges waived, and ask if you cannot be reported to the credit bureau. So those are 3 things to check into. But if you're struggling, do not ever avoid collectors. That is the worst thing you can do, because they have personalities and they will be real pissed if you're avoiding them. And not that anybody during this time is foreclosing and renting, because most jurisdictions are not doing foreclosures and they're not doing evictions, but you still don't want to be on their bad side. You want to maintain a relationship. Even if you don't have information, you always want to call and say, look, I can't make my payment. This is my situation. I want to stay in touch, blah, 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 blah. So, but do not avoid them. But there's no jurisdiction doing foreclosures and evictions right now. So make sure you know that as well. So that's number 1. Number 2, PPP. What does that stand for? It stands for Paycheck Protection Program. That is the program that Congress came up with, starting at the beginning of, at the end of March, I think it was. And then round 1 is for small businesses to get money to pay employees. So round 1 was $349 billion, and that money was gone in 2 weeks. Then they came up with round 2, and that's $310 billion. And there still is money left. So it's not too late. So if you have a business, it's really for 3 different types of entities. If you have a business and you pay people with W-2s, then you can apply for that money through your bank or credit union. Not if you pay employees with 1099s. You do not qualify if you pay employees with 1099s. If employees have 1099s, they can take their 1099 as an independent contractor, and they can apply on their own for the money. And the money is only for really 2.5 months of what you normally get. So what I mean is, you would take the amount of money that you paid your employees for all of 2019, and 2.5 months of that figure is really what you're applying for. And as an independent contractor, if you have a 1099 and say it's $20,000, and that's what you earned in 2019, 2.5 months or 2.5, you would take the 20,000, divide by 12, and that's your monthly average, and then you multiply it by 2.5. That's 2.5 months of your income. That's really what you qualify for. And a lot of small businesses are making the mistake that they can include their 1099 employees with their W-2, but you cannot. It's W-2 employees. And that money's available for nonprofits, and it's available for churches as well. So you can apply as a employer, as I just described. You can apply as an independent contractor. And then lastly, you can apply as self-employed. So if you have your own business and it's in your business name, and you don't have employees and you don't have a 1099, you can apply under self-employed. And in order to apply, you need to have just Schedule C of your 2019 taxes. So even if you haven't done your taxes, and that's okay, you need to get together your Schedule C. You don't have to submit the entire tax return, just the Schedule C, and use that. But make sure that's the Schedule C that you're going to use when you finally do file your taxes. And then you can apply. So those are the 3 ways that people can apply. And as I said, there's still a lot of money available for people that want to apply. And then the third, let's see, was there anything else Yes. So, and also to get more information about that, the whole program is being administered through the Small Business Administration, the SBA. And the site is sba.gov. And also, you can look online under Paycheck Protection Program, and then also put in Paycheck Protection Program Guidance, GUIDANCE, and or Paycheck Protection Program FAQs. And that way you'll see, because it's a little complicated. We're doing this at Industrial Bank, and we have a lot of people that apply that just don't understand it, and it's very complicated. Congress did a really good job at making it very complicated. So, and they didn't have enough time, didn't give us enough time to really make it an easy process either. It just happened so very quickly. They came up with it, they wanted to help the people, and then it's, okay, well, we're gonna roll out $1 trillion program, but we're only gonna give you banks a week to get it together. But Paycheck Protection Program, and you can look at the SBA.gov site. And also, because the SBA, this is the other thing, I got something else about that. It's forgivable money if, and this is the important part, it's forgivable money if you use it correctly. And the way it is to be used is at least 75% has to be to pay employees or pay yourself as a 1099 independent contractor, at least 75% of the money. The remaining money can go towards rent expense, mortgage interest, or utilities. And if you use the money correctly, it will be forgiven. So make sure you have the checks of how you paid, let's say, your mortgage interest or your utilities. And then you would have maybe checks or ADP or however you would normally pay your employees. But just make sure you have the proof, because you're going to need to provide that so that it will be forgiven. Otherwise, you end up with a loan and you have to repay the loan within 18 months. And before I forget, I'm just going to give you my email address. So if people have questions, because it is very complicated, it's pmitchell@industrial-bank.com. Don't forget the dash, pmitchell@industrial-bank.com. So the last thing I want to talk about is interest rates. So if you have income and you want to look at your interest rate on your mortgage, and I'm talking mortgage now, interest rates have gone down significantly. So the 15-year rate yesterday was 2.57, or maybe it was between 2.57 and 2.75 for 15 years. And the 30-year is right around 3%. And even when rates were at an all-time low, now they're lower. And you don't have to just do mortgages for 15 years or 30 years. So if you've ever gotten a mortgage or looked for a home or looked for a property, you're usually quoted 15-year rate, 30-year rate. But that doesn't have to be. It can be 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, or 30 years. Now, the rate may not be different between the 25-year mortgage and a 30-year mortgage, but it's a shorter period of time. And the reason why I bring that up is if you're over 50, and I don't suggest that you get a 30-year mortgage if you're over 50, because then you'll be 80 and 85 paying for a mortgage. Now, if you're in a situation where income-wise you're really struggling and you need to get your interest rate, your mortgage payment down in order to keep your home, then I think you should do what you need to do, and you might need to stretch it. You might need to stretch out to a 30-year mortgage. But if you can afford otherwise, I don't think you should be 60 years old like I am getting a 30-year mortgage. It'll never be paid off. Look at if you're 50, 55, 60, look at getting a shorter mortgage, 20 years, 15 years, just depending on what you can afford. But this is a really good time to check into mortgage rates. And so with that, I am going to pass the cherry on to Tevra. Yes. All right, take it away.
Hey everybody, my name is Tevra Francis. Thank you guys for watching us today. This is a really, really great program, Sherri. Thank you for including me in this opportunity. I really appreciate it. So well, let me give you a quick background about myself. So Tevra Francis, I am a by training, by master's degree, I'm a healthcare administrator. But right now, in this moment, we say so many times the word pivot. I have pivoted myself into a publisher for a platform called Bergen in Color. So Bergen in Color is a developing online social media platform that connects you to the diversity of Bergen County, New Jersey, and beyond. So just a quick backstory, Bergen in Color is a publication of TEV Media. I named things after myself so I can remember them. But TEV is an acronym for Truth, Elevation, and Value, because one of the things that I wanted to make sure that if I was going to do this, that I made sure I included were things that are uplifting to communities, that are beneficial to communities, that inspire, that actually help. I'm not into, putting things out or supporting or marketing products that are not helpful to the greater good. So in that aspect, Bergen in Color came out of a need that I felt existed in the North Jersey area. And now that we are in this COVID-19 crisis, it's become very helpful to the greater good as far as being able to provide resources, direct people to various, we talk about food banks, we talk about testing sites, we talk about all of these regional resources that don't really get covered in the news here, because if you know about the area where we live, we're kind of right up under New York City, but we're in New Jersey and we have a whole set of, resources, local governments, local municipalities, specifically for our people here. So being able to have a platform that started out as a social and lifestyle platform, but now it's kind of changed into something that's more of a utility for getting people the help that they need, has really been kind of rewarding for me and to me. So so when Sherri asked me to be part of this conference and get your cherry on, I really, I don't fashion myself as a motivational speaker. I'm not a doctor. I'm not any of these things. But everybody has a story. And if you look into your own story, you'll find nuggets where that part of yourself can help somebody else. So, so for Get Your Cherry On being power, potential, and possibility, I kind of switched it around so that it can fit what I'm trying to say today. So just bear with me. So my, like I said, I've always been a connecting type of person. And in dealing with getting your cherry on and using what you have in order to advance yourself, or at least to find yourself, I'm going to start with potential. So at the beginning, I told you guys that my master's degree is in healthcare administration. So when we go through, and like Kai referenced earlier, you go through your education, you get your college degrees, and you're trying to figure things out. One of the things on my journey that I realized is that, after finishing college, you get a job, you work that job, you like Zoe said, you give your heart to a job, you give your heart to a career, you give your heart to a corporation, which I did a lot of times. And when you look over your life and you say, okay, well, this is what I was passionate about at some point in my life. And this is what I have become good at because I got paid a lot of money to do this. But how does it make me feel as a person? How does it make me feel as my, with regards to my contribution to society? So a lot of times, even after we've, spent a lot of money on education, we decide it's time to switch gears. And that can be very fear-inducing because, again, a lot of investment and a lot of time and a lot of, tears and heartache and joy has come behind what we've been trained to do in our careers. However, still talking about potential, a lot of times if we take the time, and a lot of times we don't have the time, but if we take the time to explore, go into a period of exploration, we will see that there are common threads in what we've learned in college and what we've learned in corporate America and what we've learned in various aspects of our life that we can use and repurpose into something different. So one of the things that I really appreciated or really enjoyed in my undergraduate time, I went to the University of South Carolina, go Gamecocks. I was a psych major, but I loved theater. I loved performances. I loved producing things. And, as you get older, I worked in insurance, you get rid of all of that creative stuff. But at my core, I'm a creative. I don't have any, talents of singing or dancing or anything like that. But I love creativity. I love theater. I love putting things together from beginning, when you first get a script, to the end, when you see the final product, if it be a party or whatever. So having that time, all those years ago to explore kind of helped me understand that this is what I ultimately like to do, putting things together, so that when I was older and working in corporate America at a startup, it's basically the same thing. You're at a startup business, but you're basically taking something from an idea to the next level, which is, success in whatever industry that business is in. So kind of finding some of those that the baseline that connects your desire to grow things or to make things and your desire to have your stamp on things. That was part of my journey as well. And then using those experiences again to build on that potential for what's the next step. So in going to the next step, the possibility. So I was talking about Bergen and Color and becoming a publisher, to have media, etc. So in looking at, let me back up a little bit. So after a certain point, I was no longer in, and we all can put the pieces together, but I was laid off. I was given a bonus and a pat on the back and a good job, but then I was laid off. So what do you do at that point when you're like, okay, I put, again, my heart into this and now it's gone. But at the end of the day, it was never mine to begin with, right? So I decided, okay, well, do I find another position? Do I throw myself into the job search, which I did for a while, but then it's like, you know what? Maybe these doors aren't opening for a reason. And after a while, it became like a stronger and stronger pull to create something of my own. And sometimes the pull that we feel really is the Lord telling us, and I'm a Christian, the Lord telling us, hey, this is your time. This is the moment that you need to do this. This is why it's so hard of a pull on your heart, because now's the time to do it. And like Zoe said, am I saying it right, Zoe? Said earlier, listening to our intuition, a lot of times we kind of bury that voice in the back of our head because like, oh God, now's not the time. I got to get back my salary. I got to, you have all of these things, taking precedence. But if it's becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, it's because God wants you to listen and he doesn't want you to put it to the back of your mind. So one of those things that, I had to sit back and say, okay, so what impact, in life and in general, do I want to make? When it's Tevra Francis, 19, blah, 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 to blah, 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 when my eyes close, like my grandma used to say, what impact would I have wanted to make? Would it be like Tevra did good at all these jobs that she had? Or do I want it to be, Tevra actually helped people. Tevra actually, built something that lasts beyond her. Tevra actually, helped, my family or however you want to do it. So what impact do you want to make? And how can you use all of the lessons that you've learned, all of the things that you've taken throughout your career? How can you use those things, those common threads, to build towards your impact in this life? So that's one of the things that I've always carried with me. How do you want to make your experience into a business or career? Like I said, all of these things can be used if you kind of switch the way that you think. You could use a lot of the gifts that you've learned and the lessons you've learned and the techniques that you've learned in various industries and careers towards building on your own dream or building on the career that you always dreamed about. So case in point, my final project for my last employer was the building of a website. What am I doing right now? Building a website. So I've done this before, so let's do it again. And then now it's all mine, so I own it. But it's things like that. You take all of those examples over your lifetime and say, okay, well, one time back in college, I, produced a poetry reading. That was my thing. So how can I, tap back into that side and say, okay, well, at the core of it, you produced an event. You build on that. I produce events. You could go into corporate event planning. You could do all of these different things are open if you just kind of take a moment to explore and think back to what you have been good at, what have you been successful at, and what actually made your heart sing, and you move forward with those things. So another major key for me, especially as an entrepreneur, is how does my idea fill a need? Because as we know, there are a lot of businesses out there, and a lot of businesses fail within 3 years. I don't have the actual statistic, but a lot of businesses fail in a short amount of time. So how does your idea actually fill a need? So my note here, I have Rihanna and makeup, right? So when you say, okay, I'm gonna start a makeup brand, it's like, girl, there's a million makeup brands. We don't need another makeup brand. But what Rihanna, who is my alter ego, created through the Fenty Beauty line, she said, okay, well, my skin tone is this, my friend's skin tones are this, I'm sure she gets her makeup done every single minute of the day, but she realized that there's a need for all of the various skin tones and all of those things to be filled. Like there's a lot of tones that were falling in the gap, so that if you use this brand, it kind of makes you look ashy, or if you use this brand, it makes you look oily and it doesn't quite match, and your neck looks different from your face. So if you look at it, even though we say there's so many makeup brands, but if you say, okay, well, I like makeup, this is just an example. I like makeup. How can I make my brand fit a need that doesn't currently exist, right? Right now I'm wearing, and I'm not a PR person for these people, I just like makeup. Okay, so the Lip Bar is another brand. It's a Black-owned brand, and her name is Melissa Butler, and her whole claim to fame was she created all of these various shades of brightly colored, long-lasting lip product, because women of color, we pop when we have brighter lip shades, and it worked. You can get all kind of colors. You can get nudes, you can get blue, you can get yellow, all of the different colors. Not to say that she made lipstick better, but she found a new way to do lipstick, right? So that's just two ways as to how does your idea fill a need. For Bergen and Color, when I moved to this area about 7 years ago, I really didn't know how to get my hair done. I didn't know what churches to go to. I didn't know what the community that looked like me was even doing in this area. And I don't live in New York, and I don't live in Newark. How do I know what's going on right here where I live? And so that was where that was born. So I figured if I needed that information, somebody else probably just moved here too, and they would need it. But as I'm, discovering every day, lots of people that have been here a long time or a short amount of time are utilizing this platform. So get in where you fit in, like they say, and figure out how you can create something that actually is needed, but in your way. And so there's that. So that's the last of the possibility piece. And then as far as power, so I have a notebook that is full of, it's just full of notes. But the front of the notebook says, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. And that's by Mark Twain. So the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Part of your power is to just go for it. Like Nike says, just do it. Do something, go for it. So part of the reason that I put this under power is because a lot of times, you know, our fear kind of overshadows our desire to move ahead. And it takes a lot to push through and say, okay, I had this great idea, but I just, you know, I don't know how it's going to happen. And I can't, blah, blah, blah. When I started doing this thing, I really didn't want my face on anything. I didn't want people to know who I was. I just wanted to be this phantom, you know, brand that nobody really knows, and I could just hide under the radar. And as it grows each day, I kind of like, even this morning, like you have to kind of push yourself. You have to put power behind it and say, okay, I'm going to talk to the people. I'm going to show my face in the morning. And, you know, because it's a lot. But once you get over that fear, and you're always going to have like a stage fright of sorts, but once you get over that fear, you'll be proud of yourself because you did it. This is something that you did, and you moved towards your goal of, you know, whatever your goal is. So some of the things that also require you to kind of be introspective and tap into your power is to use the tools available. One of my clients is called the Sisters in Business Expo. And if you look them up, it's sibexpo.us. It's a platform and a touring event that celebrates entrepreneurial women of color. And we're not touring right now, obviously, because of COVID. But what we've done is pivoted into providing resources for women who are business owners. So one of the things that the founder said, her name is Aisha Taylor Issa, she says, use what you have until you have more to use. And that's been one of our most like impactful quotes that we've put out. You know, as a marketer, you put quotes out. So that's, you know, some tea for you social media girls. Put out a quote, get people to like it, and that kind of gives you some exposure. So use what you have until you have more to use. So what do I mean by that? So with social media right now is free. I don't know what the plan is for, you know, Mark Zuckerberg and everybody else, but that's a free tool. Many apps for design are free. Starting a website can be as little as, you know, $20 or cheaper. You know, spreading the word of mouth is absolutely free. Text messaging is part of your data plan or whatever. You have a network of people in your phone. Use that tool to spread the word about your event. Or your service or your product. Use what you have until you have more to use. You don't have to start a business with you know, $100,000 in the bank. You can start a business with $10. And, you know, if you have the drive, if you can sit down and create some type of a plan or a strategy, and it doesn't even have to be like, people get scared when you say business plan. It could be a business outline. It could be a business list. It could be a list on your phone. But once you make the decision to go forward, don't feel like you have to have this whole setup to get started. The main thing is to just get started. Another thing is to, as you use your network, you need to grow your network, right? So I think it was Kai that says your network is your net worth. And that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Like, but part of that is being open to, you know, being vulnerable enough to say, hey, my name is Tevra. What's your name? Shake hands. And, you know, as we get older, we find it harder to make friends. However, one of the things we have to get over is the need to like kind of slink to the background. And as Black women, we kind of tend to want to do that, especially when we're in spaces that are not comfortable or not representative of us. We want to slink to the background. But what I would tell you is just introduce yourself. Nobody's asking you to be best friends and life partners. Just say, you know what, my name is Tevra and I do this. And you know, open up a conversation. If they don't want to talk to you, fine. You know, at least you tried, and at least you put yourself out there. And in growing your network, a lot of times you're going to have to put yourself out there in order for people to get to know you. Sherri and I met just like that. Hey, Sherri, I'm Trevor. Sherri probably came to me, probably. Knowing Sherri, it was probably the reverse. But just be out there and shake hands and introduce yourself. And you never know where a connection will lead. And I am proof of that. And I just pretty much just started. So use your head. So look around the marketplace. So going back to filling a need, you're in most industries and arenas, you're gonna have, not to say competition, everybody has their own lane, but it is important to do your research, to look around, to see what's going on, and to kind of make your decisions based on, data sometimes, a lot of times data, a lot of times, what is the actual potential for this? Is there something that's close to it? Is there something that I could build upon? Can I maybe use what they did and make it this way? So kind of look around and see what's going on to make those adjustments, and then ask for help when you need it. So we talked about the SBA earlier, so I'm not going to get too much into that, but the Small Business Administration, there's SCORE. We have something called SCORE, which is kind of like an affiliate where they provide mentorship for small business owners. But on the flip side, we're also talking about mental health, and this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So there's Talkspace, there's various platforms. One of my favorite people on the planet is Sheila Robinson Kiss, and her company or her organization is called Rebalancing America and Beyond. But her name is Sheila Robinson Kiss, and if you look her up on YouTube, she has like a treasure trove of videos where, a lot of us can't afford therapy and one-on-one sessions. However, she has a lot of just straight talking resources and videos where she walks around the park and she just talks, and she just tells you, basically, it's almost like a therapy session with you without you having to sit on the couch. So her name is, again, Sheila Robinson Kiss. I love her, and she's been one of my go-tos. Also, the Breathe app on my Apple Watch, use that and just breathe. Mentally, to just kind of recenter or just redirect or just get inspiration. I listen to a ton of podcasts. Like, there's podcasts for everything. And sometimes all you need is that mental detour to kind of, just get away from the stress of some of these things that you go through as a business owner or as anybody building anything. You probably, could use like some inspiration from somewhere else. And listening to a plethora of voices sometimes can help you because, your worldview may be one thing, their worldview may be something else, but you can learn something from everybody. So podcast is my kind of cheat code on learning different things about different cultures and arenas. Music always, and gardening. I have a garden in my backyard, so I garden. But I'm gonna hurry up and wrap this up. But ultimately, pray about everything. And there's Philippians 4:6. Don't worry about anything, but pray about everything. And that's how I get through. Like, I pray about my business. I pray about every person that I meet. I just pray about everything, just because I just need that extra layer of discernment. I need that extra layer of blessing. And for me, that's what works. And keep pushing. It's hard to be consistent, and it's hard to get up every day and work and do things that build on something that doesn't quite exist yet. And I'm building every day. Like I said, COVID kind of knocked out a lot of the things that I have going on for events and also for web design. But we regroup, you reconfigure some things. You say, okay, well, right now that, this part isn't working, we have to go, double down on this segment. And you just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other every day. And, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when you say, you know what, this isn't working, or this isn't growing, or this isn't, or people aren't, and people will say, and people will do, but you got to make sure that you have the strength within yourself to say, you know what, regardless of what the circumstances are, regardless of what people do, regardless of, what my finances say, I have to keep going because I really believe that this is something that is necessary and helpful. So those are my ways that I get my cherry on. And I thank you guys for having me. My name is Tevra Francis, and my platform is Burgundy in Color at Burgundy in Color on all social media. Please follow me. The Sisters in Business Expo is SIB Expo on social media. I'm a marketer, so I'm gonna market. So yeah, thank you for your support of my platforms, and thank you, Sherri, for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, Tevra, yes. Okay, we are passing this cherry on right now to Tamara Steele. You're gonna bring us all this great motivation and inspiration. You're gonna round this out, Tamara. The cherry goes to you.
Okay, I accept it. I just unmuted myself and I am pinning my video as I speak. Well, this has been amazing. And you know, it's so interesting, Cousin Sherri, and all those of you who are listening, as I was sitting there, I was thinking, wow, this is so much information. And I hope that everybody is able to pull the nuggets that are being dropped, right? And then I was saying, well, what am I going to say? Because it's all been said. It really has. And so I don't want to do overkill, but I thought what I would do, I'm going to shift things a little bit, right? I'm not going to go with exactly what I wanted to talk about, just in the interest of time. But what I would like to do is just simply highlight certain things. What I wanted to talk about, which you've already given me the content, which, how do you reset your life, particularly during this COVID time? And guess what? Every speaker touched on what I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to just pull some nuggets, or I should say reinforce some nuggets that have already been dropped. First off, when you talk about resetting your life, you're talking about adjusting or fixing way you currently live your life, right? And we heard nuggets being dropped about your story and how you can change your story or create a new narrative. This is the perfect time. Where in life have you ever had this type of time where you can unplug from all the noise around you and really get in tune with yourself? You can plug in to the power that exists in you. All of you have touched on spirituality. And power to me is that source in you, i.e. God, that gives you power to live and to be. We are all here for a purpose. You have a call on your life to do something amazing. And we all feel that pull to do something amazing. Cousin Sherri had the pull on her to create this vision that she shared with us and that she's sharing with us right now, this platform. Tevra created her platform, which stemmed from the purpose that was in her, right? We even have Trina, Dr. Trina Wiggins, who's my sister, and her platform of health, living a healthy lifestyle, a sustainable lifestyle, right? We have Zoe, who is, I call her a spiritual guru. I know she said, I think spiritual connoisseur, but again, she's creating, right, her platform and making changes. But in all of that, and let me not forget Patricia Ann, who's in the financial world, and she's creating also her platform, or actually building on a legacy that was created, right? And then Kai, last but not least, amazing young individual, feels like a soul that's already been here, dropping amazing nuggets. And I know the purpose that's planted in her is going to actually be beyond what she can even imagine right now. So what am I getting at? We all have purpose. And this is the time during the shelter in to really tap into that purpose and really get to a point where you're able to take it yet to another level. And you can do that because you have some solitude, you have some quiet time. It's not all the hustle bustle that we usually have to deal with in our everyday, and we have to fight. as I think Trina was saying, the noise, right? That's all around us. When you try to meditate or pray, it's just so much going on. Now you have that time. I know I often would say to some of my friends, if I could just put a pause button on life so that I can like really assess, where am I at? Where am I? Where am I going? What's holding me back? What's getting in the way of me doing what I'm called to do this lifetime? So what I encourage you to do is tap into your power. And that power being what's on the inside of you, the God that lives on the inside of you, your source. Go to your source. Use it as a GPS system to get direction and guidance in your life. Like, have a conversation. Where am I going? What is it that I'm supposed to do this lifetime? And what should it look like? And yes, wait for the answers. Those answers will come to you in the form of your intuition, as Zoe tapped on, as Tever, I believe, tapped on as well. It's that pull on the inside of you that's telling you where you should go, what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And you have to trust that intuition, because that is God speaking to you. I love the verse in the Bible. I think it's like Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, 4th or 5th verse. It says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart, lean not to your own understanding. Because again, I believe Zoe said it, intuition's not going to make sense. It says, lean not to your own understanding. That's the inference that is not going to make sense. But acknowledge him, God, in all thy ways, and he shall direct your path. Trust that your path is being directed for you, right? That's key. And then also in this process, and I'm looking at my time, Cousin Sherri, because I want to have it open for some questions from folks. I think Tever touched on this. Release the anxiety. Just let it go. We all, I think, have some level of anxiety. I think Kai had mentioned just being free, and Trina mentioned the Calm, I think, app, and Cousin Sherri mentioned something as well about just letting go. Again, and I'm going to throw scripture out there, and for those of you take it who are not necessarily spiritual, take it as a quote, but there's a scripture found in Philippians, and I think Tever touched on it. It says, be anxious for nothing. You don't have to have anxiety, right? But in prayer and supplication is just your humble petition to God, and thanksgiving. Let your request be known. Whatever your request is, write it out. And you let that request be known, because the peace that you need during these uncertain times, it says that the peace of God, it will guard your heart, right? And your mind. Those are major gateways for the enemy to attack you. Who's the enemy? Anybody that comes up against you that is not in alignment with what God has for your life. So stay connected to your source, your power source. And when you do that, you can tap into the unlimited possibilities that are there for your life. It's already there for you. That creative space that you want to tap into, we all are creative. It simply means that you need to co-create, partner with the God that lives in you, your source, and create those unlimited possibilities for you. Don't put limits on yourself. You can do amazing things. The purpose on your life was formed before you were even a thought to your mother and father. It was formed before you even took form in your mother's womb. You got to believe there's some amazing things for you, and only for you. It only has your name on it. No one else has your fingerprint. No one else has what you have. And it's important that you are gifted with this purpose, but your gift to God is to give that gift back. And guess what? We're all waiting for it. We want your greatness to come forth. We want your light to shine, because when your light shines, it helps to illuminate all of us. So I encourage you to tap into your power, tap into your unlimited possibilities, right? And that potential is just the likelihood that everything that you are imagining for your life, it will come to pass. And one last thing, expand your capacity. You're co-creating with God, but God can only use you to the capacity that you allow him. So expand your capacity, take all the limits out, and go full out boldly to pursue the things that you're called to do this lifetime. Reset and reset, not now, but right now during these uncertain times, because this time is your time. God bless. I'm passing the cherry back to my cousin Sherri.
Okay, I just want to say thank you. I'm going to give just we all thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you. I want to open it up now. I don't want to say too much more because I want to open it up for people who may have some questions. You guys are incredible. I caught so much. There is so much information, so many nuggets. So I'm opening up to some questions. Hello? Hi, Tammy. Okay, question, Tammy?
No, I didn't have a question. I just want to say that every speaker, all of you were great this morning. Sherri has always been such an inspiration to me, and to hear how this Getting Your Cherry On has grown. I have my t-shirt on today, Sherri. Because I've kind of walked with her through this since the beginning, and to see the growth. But so many have talked about going with your inspiration, going with your intuition, and she's done this from the beginning, and I've watched it grow. And we know we're just waiting for when everybody else knows, because we know it's coming, but we just have to have the patience and go through all of this process. I thank all of you ladies for the gifts that you gave us today, because it was an inspiration financially, personally. You all gave great nuggets. Kai, I'm so proud of you. I've watched Kai from a little one, and to see the growth that she's had and to see her sharing today, it's been tremendous. So I don't have a question, but I thank you all for sharing. It's been great.
Yes.
Yes. Wow.
Someone, whoever's on, just go. This is a fluid conversation, even though it's, been speakers, it is jammed packed. And I'm so grateful, let me say, to each and every one of you for being here today and taking your time to, want to get your cherry on with us. So I don't want to talk anymore. I want to hear your comments and questions. Yes.
Hello.
Linda.
Hello.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
How do I get on?
You're on.
Oh, okay. Hello, my name is Estelle Washington. I'm Yvette's mother.
Hi, Miss Washington.
Hi, and I also Kai's grandmother, and I'm so proud of her today.
Yes.
I would just like to say to everyone, I've almost been in tears, tell you the truth, because of the inspirational things that have been said and the nuggets that you all have given. It's just been beautiful. I would like to say what I have done during this time. I have just come off a lot of surgeries and hospitals and rehabs and everything in September. So I'm kind of still recuperating from some of that. But during this time, I have been really getting into the Bible. I'm connected with God, and that is what my goal is right now, is to learn the things that I haven't learned over all these years, and that is to study God's word. So that's what I've been doing. I've gotten a beautiful app from a lady from our church, which is a dramatized King James version of the Bible, and it is absolutely wonderful. I can imagine myself being in the times the way the dramatized version is. So I would suggest to a lot of people, as the last young lady told us, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but to get in touch with God at this time when you have the time to do it. I've had a lot of time over these past few years, but I've done it more at this time. And I just want to thank everybody, and I thank my daughter Yvette for inviting me on to this discussion in Zoom today. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Lorinda, I think you had started. Thank you so much, Ms. Watt. And you know what? I want to say, we are so glad to see you on this call because you went through some challenging times health-wise.
Very.
And we were all praying for you. It is such a beautiful event. I know you are shouting for joy. It is so good. God is good. And those prayers, let me tell you, you are living proof right now that prayers work.
Changes.
Prayers work. Prayers change
Prayer
things.
works. It's
Yes. So thank you. We are celebrating. We're celebrating you today.
Thank you. Where's Yvette? Is she still?
I don't know. She is. I'm going to let Lorinda speak, and Yvette, hopefully you'll chime in.
Thank you.
I just want to thank you for inviting me to this. This has been amazing. I am full. All this has been confirmation. And I'm reminded of the verse in Ecclesiastes, which he speaks about, he makes everything beautiful in its time and its season. And I am fully convinced that this is the season. 2020, I don't feel like that's an accident. I feel like that's the 2020 vision of this season, no matter what it may look like right now. I've been blessed by this time. I look at it as this Sabbath, like what has been spoken about previously. You know, you're getting in touch with that spirit. I'm just finding myself, I guess, just rediscovering what my purpose is and what was spoken in my spirit even before the foundations of the earth. And just no more excuses. It's beautiful because everything is lining up. The people, Sherri, I mean, I'm meeting wonderful people that have like-minded visions, like-minded stories, and just that positivity. It means everything. And when you find people who don't have that, it's not for us to force it. It's not for us to force that relationship. I mean, every door that's open isn't meant for you to walk through. So I'm very thankful for closed doors that did not belong to me. And I'm so grateful and in a space of expectation of those doors that are opening that are for me, because I am a Christian. So, I mean, his word will not return void, and his promises are yes and amen. And I've just been living that, seeing the evidence of that, because I mean, if you knew my story, like the old saint said, you know why I praise him, because I really shouldn't be here. So I'm just so grateful. And everybody has been saying, one of the speakers talked about, oh, where is it? Okay, use what you have until you have more to use. And also just use what you have. And I was reminded of Moses. I mean, with all those excuses he had, and God was just like, look, what's in your hand? What's in your hand? Just throw it down. Look, okay, now what? And it's just beautiful. I just feel like there's gifts that we have that we don't even know about. But if we just get still, he'll show us. He'll show us. And if we just trust and have the courage to do it, right? You just have to go and do it. I heard that today too. You gotta just have that power and courage to just do it. But I'm just full. I'm full. I'm so glad I'm here today. And thank you so much for the invitation. I mean, and every speaker has been touching on the whole person. I mean, like with the finances and the spirit man and the moving and the theatrical. Oh my goodness, that's my heart. But I could just go on and on and on, but oh, I like the rest of everybody to speak, but thank you so much.
Lorinda. Thank you. And your story and journey is incredible. It's an
Thank you.
incredible story. I'm honored to have you on the call or on the Zoom meeting. Yeah.
Women.
Is there anyone else who would love to kind of join into the conversation?
What a blessing, Sherri. I have a lot to share, but I'm not going to do that. But the first thing I'm going to share is that, you know, I've been with Sherri since the Cherry Red journey for a long time.
And before.
I will tell you, it still are. I'm not going anywhere. I didn't wear my t-shirt today, but I got my PJs on. So there you go. But yeah, so I just want to share that. Number one, you know, the beauty and the joy that's happening this morning is born out of my cousin Sherri's gratitude. Basically, she is a woman who lives in and through her gratitude, her thanks for the life that she has and what she's able to create. And she wants to share that from the bottom of her sweet, loving little heart. Mwah, mwah. I love you so much. She cares so much. God, you know, it's just impossible to have so much in one little lady like that. And then look at her successful children. I mean, to do all that she's been able to do in her little life is amazing. And I'm so glad she's sharing that through Cherry Red. Thank you. I love you for that.
This has been an amazing experience. I've learned so much today. So anyone else, any comments, please, or questions? Anyone?
Yeah, this is Yvette, and good afternoon, everyone. It's been a lovely morning that has gone into the afternoon. I have to say, I could probably be on all day. I've learned so much. I want to thank all of the speakers. We are building such a powerful community of strong, courageous, ambitious women. I mean, I just feel so empowered today. I generally start my day off listening to Pharrell's Happy. I'm going to get off and play that and jump around and have fun. I know we talk about, and it really truly has been a time to reset our lives, but I must say I've been guilty of some slacking off, spending lots of nights watching D-Nice and looking at movies and just not doing anything.
You're unplugging, like I talked about.
Yeah, but the unplugging part has been, you know, it has been important, and we've talked about the pause and how important that is to pause our life, to think about our lives, to think about our purpose, and it has been a time for that. But I'm really hoping that as we reset, I mean, at least my heart is telling me that the world has to change. We have to be more compassionate. We have to be more caring. You know, I'm hoping that a lot of things can change, in not just in our lives, but in the lives of every person on the planet, you know. So I just want to say I'm so encouraged. I'm so excited about this community, Sherri, that you're building. And guess what? You didn't know how this was going to turn out, but what a tremendous inspiration and success for you and for us. And we got to do it again.
Yeah, we're going to do it again.
Bottom line, we got to do it again.
Yes.
And Trina, one of my biggest challenges is around sleep, and I am, you know, I'm a healthy person, but obviously, I mean, you guys have highlighted some things that I know that I need to work on, and you just have to hear it. It has to be in your ear, you know, so I hear it and I just have to act on it. So thanks everybody.
I want to just give our speakers just final thing as we close, Zoe, I'm just going to start with you. Everybody, just one final thought as we wrap out of here.
Yeah, final word. I would say this quote came to me this week from Les Brown. Live from your imagination, not from your past. I might be paraphrasing it a bit, but y'all get the intent. Live from your imagination and not from your past. And so just take that with you and have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Trina. Trina, are you still here?
Yes, I had to unmute myself. Well, I'm pretty much just going to keep with the title of my new book. For anything in life, you want to keep it short and simple for a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. That's with anything, because when things become too chaotic, too complex, we also oftentimes fall off the wagon. So keep that in mind.
Yes. Kai? Kai, are you still with us? Yes.
I guess the only thing I have to plug right now is you can follow me at kaisahai.com. It's KAITSEHAY. It's not pronounced the way it's spelled. And thank you guys for everything. If you need a photographer, I'm here. I'm also looking for job opportunities, so send them my way. And I just want to say thank you guys so much.
Patricia.
Yeah. I would say, as I've been telling everybody, please don't squander this time. And that's kind of the theme that I hear people talking about in terms of health and wellness. Just let's not squander the time. While you're working on your health, you can work on your finances. Do you need to do a budget? Do you need to know how much money you've squandered before COVID-19? Take that time, clean out your closets. I know people have a lot of cleaning out they need to do. Please don't squander the time. Thank you.
Yes, and Tara.
Thank you, Sherri, for having all of us. This was great. I just want to go back to the Mark Twain quote, "The secret of getting ahead is getting started." So whatever you want to get done, like Patricia said, don't squander the time, just get started, just do it, pray about it, and just put one foot in front of the other every day. You can follow me at Bergen in Color, and you can also follow my client, the Sisters in Business Expo, at SIB Expo on social media. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Tamara?
Yes, let's make sure. Okay, am I muted?
Nope, you're talking, you're live. Oh, now you're muted.
Now you're muted.
Okay,
there you go.
Now I'm live. Okay, so one quote I want to leave you with. Change only happens when what you know is no longer good enough. Whatever it is in your life that is no longer good enough, that's when the change is going to start happening. Always remember, change starts at a heart level. Change will only happen when what you know is no longer good enough. Internally, that intuition we talked about, when it's telling you, you know what, you're done with this. This is over. This doesn't serve you. All those messages you get, that is when the change is going to start happening. So make a decision to change. Make a commitment to yourself, to someone else that will hold you accountable, that you trust. And last but not least, make a commitment to God that you are going to make the changes that are necessary to be the best version of you. And I'll turn it back over to you, Cousin Sherri.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I've got 2 words and a hug. Love yourself. That is the greatest gift you can give to yourself and others. Because if you don't love yourself, you don't have enough love and you overflow to give to anyone else. So just give yourselves all a big hug, and let's know that today we're going to continue to what? Get our cherry on. Thank you all so much. Yes, yes. I feel empowered. I'm inspired. Yes. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.